Why do I do what I do? I've been doing content, I've been doing music, I've been playing guitar and buying equipment since I was a little kid, basically. Kind of inspired to make a video about why I do what I do, both with YouTube and in my free time and with music, etc., in the hope that it might help other creatives that have kind of gone through an identity crisis or are struggling in this time during the quarantine and artistically and maybe trying to find some direction as I share some of my story on why I do what I do. When I originally started YouTube, it was because I loved the platform. I loved watching videos of people playing instruments and making reviews and making music. And that led me to create my own channel and start to do some of those things for myself. And the first big video I had was a drum review that I found for sale at my local Guitar Center when I knew that there was only pre-orders available. It had been a big hit at NAMM, and it was something that was poised to sell a lot. It was a competitive price point. And I saw one for sale at my local Guitar Center, and I knew if I got a video out that weekend that it would do really well, and it has. Over time, it's amassed nearly 100,000 views. And that was my first taste of kind of what was out there on YouTube. But I'm not just specifically talking about YouTube and my journey on there. I'm talking about why I do today what I've been doing, which is primarily demos and reviews of small 1-2-man shop pedal companies. And why I get so excited about that is that these are guys that really care about what they're doing. They put a lot of time and energy beyond what their price point is asking for. They're essentially doing this as a passion project or a hobby, a side hustle even. And they are putting more time in than they're seeing money come out, at least at this point. And that enthusiasm for gear is what drives me to shop and buy and work with all these people because they're enthusiastic about what they do. And there's specific things in my format that I tailor because I wasn't seeing that in other reviewers. There's a lot of pedal review channels. I'm really aware of how many and how big they are and how prolific they are. And I know for a fact that a lot of them have better cameras than I do. They have more money than I do. They have better paying day jobs than what I have, and they can do things that I can't. But what I can do is work. I can put the work in, and I can use my time and my energy to make what I think the market needs, which is a couple things. A couple things specifically that I do in my videos that I'm not seeing enough of. Number one is not too much talking. I know this talk piece is obviously an exception because it's not a pedal review. Number two, the style and format of the video in terms of if someone is sitting down and casually playing a pedal and talking about it, that is good because you want to hear their impressions and reactions. But what I hate is when there's more talking than there is actual playing of the pedal. I want to hear the pedal. I want to hear what they can do with it. I don't want to hear them just talk on and on and on about what the pedal is. And my biggest pet peeve is if the video doesn't start immediately within the first 30 seconds with the sound of the pedal itself. If I have to wait 3 minutes to hear the pedal, why am I watching this person talk about it? Yeah, it's good to do an intro and have a whole bit or whatever, but I want to hear, when I click on that video, I want to be hearing what I came there for. And so for me, the biggest thing that I do with my content is you are hearing that pedal within the first 30 seconds to a minute at absolutely maximum. Another thing is stylistically. Some people play with hyper boutique guitars and gear that just is not practical for the average person. I try to be an average person. I'm the average Joe off the street, and I want to show how this pedal would work for a lot of different people. I want to play styles of riffs and styles of music that I think connect with what people actually do in real life. I don't use a bunch of super boutique high-end gear that the average guy isn't going to use. I mean, I use a guitar I paid $300 for. It's a great guitar and perfect for what I like, but it's a Squier upper-end guitar. Same with my amplifier. It's a phenomenal amplifier for a pedal platform, but it is not some boutique expensive thing that is the absolute best amp on the market. It's a Marshall Origin 20-watt head, which works phenomenally for what it is. But that's something you can buy at most any Guitar Center. So it's decisions like that. The gear that I'm using, the way I'm using it, I want it to be, my content to be as accessible as possible for the average Joe musician. And that's not for everyone. Some people cater to a boutique and high-end crowd only, and I think that's good. And I'm sure I'll develop and reform my style over time as well. I mean, what I'm doing today can always change and evolve, and that's part of my process. Is if you look at a video from a year ago and a video that I do now, I've learned so much more about my process and what I want to do and how to make things a little better, but I just have to put in the work myself. I don't have a background in graphic design or photography. I had to figure all this out on my own. In fact, if you wanted to hear more about my journey, I highly recommend the Gear Addict podcast. It's available on all of the podcast platforms, and I had a 2-hour discussion with my friend Greg, and we went through a lot of my past history and kind of why I do what I do now. But it's decisions like that that led me to where I am today, including things as simple as I decided I'm going to collect 50 fuzz pedals. I love fuzz pedals, like beyond any other genre of pedal I've ever played. They're so different. There's so many out there. Every day I'll learn about 3 pedals that I didn't even know existed that don't sound like anything else in my collection. There's very few things in the gear market that do that, in my opinion, at least in that price point. And I try to shoot for things that sell at or below $100. Sometimes I am demoing things that are a little more upscale, but for the most part, I try to limit what I would actually buy and actually use from these builders. And that's huge for me because I am not the kind of guy necessarily that has thousands of dollars extra a month to spend on gear. I'm just a guy. I work a normal job. I don't make obscene amounts of money, and I have bills just like everyone else. So it's these factors that drove me to create the style of content, the thought behind my content, and all the things that I'm doing today. Why I do what I do is a lot of decisions, a lot of looking at what was out there, and just being a fan of gear and YouTube in general. And I hope this resonates with you today. This is just kind of a casual video. It was something that was on my mind, and I hope that whatever you're doing creatively, being a singer-songwriter, being a photographer, whatever you're doing that you want to share with people more, I hope that this somehow encourages you to keep doing what you're doing, and you may see results and you may not, but if you put the work in, it'll never return void and you will never have wasted your time. So thank you for taking your time with me today if you made it this far. Leave a comment below and just let me know that, what you're working on if you wanted to. So thank you.